राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना 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 जमुना तीर वनचारी जमुना तीर वनचारी जमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय जय यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन। 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 यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। 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 गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। जयं विष्णुपद परमहंस प्रवचकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद श्रील अभय चरणानंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नाम आचार्य श्रील ठाकुर हरिदास की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगा देवी की जय। यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। इस्कॉन बीवीथी संस्थापक आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। Shri Shri Lalita Vishakha Sahita Radha Shyama Sundar Ki Jai. Go Premanande. All glories to the Samal devotees. All glories to the Samal devotees. All glories to the Samal devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutirayet Nashta Prayesho Hatresho Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishne Swathamo Bhagate Dhanamajnanadibhisaha Drishamesha Puranarko Dhunodita. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 86. Today we will cover texts 46 and 47. All of you kindly give me your blessings. I can say something worthwhile to hear. Please repeat. Shrinvatam Gadatam Shashvat Archatam Twabhivandatam Nranam Samvadatam Anta Hridi Bhasi Amalatmanam Shrinvatam Gadatam Shashvat Archatam Twabhivandatam Nranam Samvadatam Antar Hridibhasyamal-atmanam Shrinvatam Gadatam Shashvat Archatam Twabhivandatam Nranam Samvadatam Antar Hridibhasyamal-atmanam Shrinvatam Gadatam Shashvat Archatam Twabhivandatam Naram Samvadatam Antar Hridibhasyamal-atmanam Shrinvatam. For those who are hearing, Gadatam, speaking, Shashvata, constantly, Archatam, worshipping, Twa, you, Abhivandatam, offering praise, Maranam, for men, Tamvadatam, conversing, Antaha, within, Hridi, the heart, Bhasi, you appear, Amala, spotless, Atmanam, whose minds. You reveal yourself within the hearts of those persons of pure consciousness who constantly hear about you, chant about you, worship you, glorify you, and converse with one another about you. Please repeat. You reveal yourself within the hearts of those persons of pure consciousness who constantly hear about you, chant about you, worship you, glorify you, and converse with one another about you. There's no BBT purport here. I'll just share a few things that are in previous purports. Om Jnanatimirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guroho Shriyata Parikamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha. Shri Rupam Sabrijatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam. Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahatam Krishna Chaitanya Devam. Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Ladata Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Lakshmi Nivasa Madhusudana Madhavatvam Deva Prasida Mama Buddhi Bharam Datasva. Yasmaraham Kila Vibho Tava Balakenim Samvarnayecha Satatam. Pranipati Purvam. Sridhar Swami comments on this verse. Kinsha Shrinvatamiti Nityam Shravana Kirtanadi Putparanam Malatmanam Avi Kridyevam Tvam Bhasi Mamatu Lochanagocharas Twamaho Bhagyaviti Bhava. So he's asking, what is he saying about those who are hearing and chanting and so on, like this? Shrutadev is saying that you only appear within the hearts of those pure souls who are always hearing and chanting and so on, and yet you've come in front of my vision. The idea is, oh, I'm so fortunate. Shrutadev, he simply could not believe his good fortune to have the Supreme Lord personally in his home. And he was just expressing like this, according to Sridhar Swami. Sanatan Goswami says that the Lord might counter, well, I've already appeared in your heart. So out of humility, Shrutadev speaks this verse, which means that's impossible in my case because you appear in minds favorable to you, in minds of those who are pure, not in the minds of persons like me. Those pure souls constantly hear, constantly chant, constantly worship, constantly glorify, and constantly converse about you. The word shashwat here, constantly, it's applied to each and every verb that's in the verse. So they're always doing all of these things. So he says, you appear in the hearts of pure-hearted persons who constantly hear, glorify, worship, offer respects, by placing 6 limbs on the ground. He says, specifies that. Shashtanga Dandavat. And speak to each other about you. Or another way to look at it is that after purifying the heart by proper action, one can then properly hear and glorify and so on. What does that mean? You have to be pious. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanvamoha nirmukta bhajante mam drhavrataha. We're talking about drhavrata, a firm vow to chant all the time, to hear all the time, to worship the Lord all the time. Raise your hand if you're doing this all the time. Yeah, so this is a problem. But when we are amalatma, pure souls, purified in mind, because Atma means 3 things, right? Body, mind, self. So all of them have to be pure. If we are pure, Krishna tells Arjuna in the end of chapter 7, Bhagavad-Gita, then we can sustain a mature commitment to pure devotional service. Otherwise, it's going to be interrupted from time to time. A pratihata, that's called pratihata. From time to time, it's stopped. So the Lord appears privately, antaha, that means within the heart. Or you can take it also that the Lord appears in the hearts of those who are chanting privately. What is the private chanting that we all do? 2 hours a day? Japa. Yajnanam japa yajñosmi, he says also. Chief Goswami does not comment on this verse, just like the BBT. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given a very nice, as always, commentary. He says, Nanu madhya shravana kirtanari manto bhavad vidha mad darshanam prapnuvantyeva tatraha shrindvatamiti. Because Krishna might say that people like you, because Shrutadev was a pure Brahmin, so Krishna might say, people like you are engaged in hearing and singing about me and all this. Certainly they see me. Therefore, Shrutadev responds in this verse, you appear, yes, but only to those persons who talk about you among the devotees. Only those persons who are pure in heart. But this is for those whose minds, atmanam, are spotless, amalatmanam, devoid of such contaminations as matsarya. What is matsarya? Envy, irshya. Yeah. So we all have that contamination. Somewhere inside, if you look hard enough, and we should look hard enough, we will find that it's there. Yes, it's there. We have to do something about that. We have a short window of opportunity that we call this human birth. We have this limited time to do something about it. Don't waste it. You can go somewhere in this life. You have to take advantage. So, he says, you appear in the minds of such persons who are devoid of this kind of thing, envy and so on. There are 6 of them, right? How many? What are they? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha, Matsarya. But I'm full of contamination. This is his idea. Nevertheless, by appearing here in person, you have shown the quality of your wonderful mercy. Vichitra kripa charitram. The character, you have shown the character of your amazing mercy. Vichitra here means amazing, adbhuta. It brings to mind something that Rupa Goswami has said. We'll speak about that in a moment. But first of all, this verse, it sounds a lot like the seed verses of Bhagavad-Gita. Anybody can think of another verse that's very similar to what we're discussing this morning among those Chatushloki Bhagavad-Gita? Madchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantaschamam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Yes. What does it mean? Tushyanti cha ramanti cha? Because they're very similar. Anyone who's studied the commentaries, you know the difference. Ramanti cha means they enjoy in this way. Tushyanti cha means they're satisfied in this way. It's a very subtle distinction, isn't it? Seems like redundance, but we don't allow redundance in Sanskrit. Never. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains about that tushyanti cha, they're satisfied that they have the opportunity here and now to do this. That satisfies them. Even they may not be perfect, but they're satisfied. At least I'm in Vrindavan. At least I'm chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. At least I'm sitting in front of Gaur-Nitai, Krishna Balaram, Lalita Vishakha Sahita Radha Shyam Sundar, and all the devotees, and I'm hearing Bhagavatam. At least I'm able to do these things. How many people in the world can do this? If you take birth in Kabul, is it likely that you'll have the opportunity to do this? Not really. Very rare. So this is the first thing, tushyanti cha. And ramanti cha means that when they do mature by taking advantage of that opportunity, even in their immature state, then they actually become pure, they become amalatma, as we're discussing this morning. And then they can actually enjoy, then they really relish rasasvadanam. Before that, we have maybe a shadow attachment or some vague mental notion of happiness coming from hearing and chanting as we do. But after the stage of ruchi and asakti, then we begin to develop bhava. So, buddha bhava samanvitaha. And Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita elsewhere that many persons, by becoming free of their attachments and their fears and their anger and frustration, they have become purified by this process and they have approached me in bhava bhakti. That means that we can all do this. I'll speak more about that in a moment. But for now, the main point is that here the Lord reveals himself to those who are constantly doing these things, apratihata, without interruption. So 4 of the 9 processes of devotion are mentioned here. We have Shravanam, Kirtanam, Archanam, and Vandanam. But there's also an extra one that's added as well, and that's there in that 10th chapter verse Bhagavad Gita. We're discussing with the devotees, Kathayantascha mam nityam paraspar. So, Shrutadev, he is emphasizing this crucial distinction. To do these things, the word nityam bhagavata sevaya, means that we're doing it regularly, but it actually, nityam really means to do it constantly. We're at least doing it regularly. That's why we can be called devotees of any sort. But the reality is that we have to be doing these things constantly. And Shrutadev is very conscious of the fact that he's not exactly in that category, or at least he doesn't feel himself to be in that category. He felt himself to be an unqualified grihamedhi, because he was in the household ashram, incapable of concentrating upon the Lord without cessation. Because anyone who's a householder, you already know, it's very difficult to fix your mind on Krishna all the time. Because there are children, and the things need to be done, and it's very distracting. So he's thinking he's in this condition, but the acharyas have told us that his sentiment was simply an expression of his deep humility. So he actually is one of these amalatmas. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, he's paraphrasing Shrutadev's sentiment, that you're talking, Krishna, about those whose minds are completely spotless, amala, devoid of contamination, but you have shown me wonderful mercy. So, this is another thing we can talk about. Vichitra kripa charitram. These are Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's words, the character of his wonderful mercy. It brings to mind a very similar verse of Srila Rupa Goswami. Many of you know. Tadapi kripad bhutavichim. You recognize ringing any bells here? Actually, the song is so nice that I think the entire song is worth hearing now, because it also demonstrates the same kind of humble spirit that we're seeing here in Shrutadev. So Rupa Goswami prays, Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande, Manamanasa Madhukaram Arpayanacha Padapankajamakarande. And Yadyapi Samadhishu Vidhirapi Pashyati Natapanakhagramirijim Idamit Chami Nishamyatavachata Tadapi Kripan Bhutavichim. He goes on to say, Bhakti Rudanchati Yadyapi Madhava Natvai Mamatila Matri Parameshwarata Tadapi Tavadhika Durghata Ghatana Vidhatri. Ayama Vilola Tayadya Sanatana Kalitad Bhutarasabharam Nivasato Nityami Hamrata Nindini Vindan Madhuri Masaram. It almost sounds like Jayadev Goswami, right? He's so good. Srila Prabhupada actually paraphrases this song in his purport, Bhaktivedanta purport to Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1, chapter 11, text number 26, where he writes, quote, Srila Rupa Goswami, the great devotee Acharya of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, has sung a song about the lotus honey coming from the Lord's lotus feet. He's emphasizing a different point. Rupa Goswami compares himself to a bee. He says, O my Lord Krishna, I beg to offer my prayers unto you. My mind is like a bee, and it's after some honey. Kindly, therefore, give my bee mind a place at your lotus feet, which are the resources for all transcendental honey. I know that even big demigods like Brahma do not see the rays of the toenails of your lotus feet, even though they're engaged in deep meditation for years together. Still, O infallible one, my ambition is such, for you are very merciful to your surrendered devotees. O Madhava, I also know that I have no genuine devotion for the service of your lotus feet, but because your lordship is inconceivably powerful, you can do what is impossible to be done. Durghata Ghatana Vidhatri. We all need that mercy. Your lotus feet can deride even the nectar of the heavenly kingdom, and therefore I'm very much attracted by them. O Supreme Eternal, he calls him Sanatan, the Lord, but this is his clever way of inserting his chap into the poet. Chap means a nom de plume, or signature. He always signed his poems in the name of his elder brother, Sanatan Goswami. So, I am Avilola Tayadya Sanatana. This is how he signs it. O Supreme Eternal, please, therefore, let my mind be fixed at your lotus feet so that eternally I may be able to relish the taste of your transcendental service. This is what he's saying. It's the same idea that is expressed in this verse. Nityami hamriti nindini vindan madhuni masaram. Nivasatu nityam. He wants that his mind is always engaged in the Lord's lotus feet. That's our challenge as neophyte devotees. For us, we don't really have a mature taste. Sometimes we prefer to hear about things other than Krishna. Sometimes we prefer to do veneration to those who are not Krishna. Sometimes we are not worshiping Krishna. We're not chanting Krishna's names. We're chanting other things. This is a fact. So this is the crucial distinction made here by Shrutadev. All right, so these are the commentaries on text 46. We can go on to text 47. I'm just going to recite this Sanskrit quickly, and then we can save time. Hridistopya ati durastha karma vikshipta chetasam atma shakti viragrahyo api anti upeta gunatmanam. That means, although you reside within the heart, you're very far away from those whose minds are disturbed by their entanglement in material work. Indeed, no one can grasp you by his material powers, for you reveal yourself only in the hearts of those who have learned to appreciate your transcendental qualities. There is a purport here by the servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The all-merciful Lord is in everyone's heart. Seeing him there, however, is possible only when one's own heart is completely purified. Materialists may demand that God prove his existence by coming into view as a result of their empirical investigations. But God has no need to respond to such impudence. As Lord Krishna states in Bhagavad-Gita 7.25, Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrataha muhoyam nabhijanati lokomam ajam avyayam. I'm never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I'm covered by my eternal internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I'm unborn and infallible. Here the Bhavarta Deepika, this is Sridhar Swami's commentary, says, if situated within the hearts of all, then how is it that he only appears within the hearts of some? This is the natural question. He says this in case someone may think that Krishna is covered by the clouds. Sometimes we give this analogy, right? We can't see God, just like we cannot see the sun covered by clouds. It's brilliant what he says. You catch that word? Brilliant. So he says, it's not like that, because if Krishna were covered by clouds, then he would not be visible to anyone. But here it's being stated that he is visible to some, but not everyone. So that's the point. So although you are remote, beyond the grasp of those whose consciousness is splayed by karma, you aren't actually so for the devotees. You're very nearby. You're the Atma for those whose subtle body is refined. The word is used samskara. That means refinement. For those whose subtle body is refined by hearing, chanting, and so on. This is the meaning. Sanatana goes on to explain further. He is representing another one of these discussions, hypothetical discussions that we often find in the commentaries. Although you're situated within the heart as Antaryami, you are situated far from those whose hearts are agitated by karma. You're not revealed to them. Here Krishna might say, since I'm in everyone's heart as Antaryami, then why say I appear to those who are hearing and chanting only? Shruddhadev thus responds, you're not revealed to persons involved in karmas. Too much wrapped up in your karma. What is that called? Again, back to the same verse at the end of chapter 7. Dvandva moha. And that's what we're absorbed in. He says that when we're free from our dvandva moha, dualistic illusions, then we can maybe begin to process all the things that we're hearing and chanting properly. So until that time, we're not so clear. So Krishna then replies, well, since somebody becomes purified by satkarma, that means good activity, good actions, then I should appear to those people. And to that argument, Shruddhadev replies, no, you appear by mercy and nothing else. You cannot be seen by the powers of a pure mind that is generated by satkarmas, atma shakti. That's the significance of the word atma shakti in this verse. It means by your own good karma, and I mean to say the advantages born of your own good karmas, you're not going to approach Krishna just by that effort alone. Not going to happen. So, you cannot be seen by the powers of a pure mind that is generated by satkarmas, belonging to persons who are affected by satkarmas attained independently. Anti upeta. Okay, so because of many satkarmas, there are plural shaktis, he says. That would atma shakti be the form of this word is plural. He says, because there are many different kinds of karma, and every karma that you perform, it has a certain reaction that stains your mind and creates a psychological residue that you have to carry with you into your future, wherever that may be. It may be good. Hopefully it's good. That's the whole point of 7.28, which we've quoted already. Yesham tvandagatam papam. But if it's not good, then it's even more difficult. But even if you have good karma, he's saying here, it's not enough. Or Atma Shakti Bhi, it's plural out of respect for the Lord's Shaktis. Either way, Sanatana Goswami takes it. Again, Jiva Goswami doesn't comment, but Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur does. He says, Shruddhadev might say, I've noticed that you display other wonderful qualities. Although you reside in the hearts, hridistha, of both the devotees and the non-devotees, you're visible only to the devotees and invisible to the non-devotees. So Krishna might ask at this, that how is it possible for me to be in both their hearts and yet far away at the same time for some? So Shruddhadev answers, you're very far, ati durastha, very, very far, when we have the non-devotional attitude. For those immersed in ignorance with its covering of pride and envy, all those things. But you're very near, anti, and can be easily realized by those humble souls who forever think of your qualities within their hearts. That's the meaning of the word upeta gunatmanam. used in this verse. So, again, the 7.25 is relevant here. That's why it's quoted in the BBT purport. It also brings to mind a very similar verse from Kunti, chapter 8 of the first canto, texts 18 and 19. Anybody know offhand? Namashye Purusham Twadyam Ishvara Parakate Param Alakshyam Sarvabhutanam Antarbahidavasthitam. Although you're situated both inside and outside, they can't find you anywhere. Alakshyam Sarvabhutanam. And this is virtually everyone. Sarvabhutanam. And she goes on to say, why? Maya javanika channam adnyad hokshajam avyayam nalakshyase mudhadrsha nato natyadharo yatha. Even for the devotees sometimes, even for the pure devotees, even for the Amalatmas, sometimes they cannot understand what is he doing. This is Kunti's. And she says later on, Gopyada de tvai kritagasi damatavad ityadi. Yeah, you're crying just like an ordinary baby in front of your mother, even though fear itself is afraid of you. I can't process this. So even the devotees are covered over by a different kind of maya javanika, a yoga maya javanika. But here we're talking about the non-devotees. Agyad hokshajam avyayam. They don't know that the Lord is beyond the senses, adhokshaja, because they're foolish. Nalakshyase murhadrisha. They have foolish vision. They're trying to confirm things with their empirical senses, and therefore they can't see anything. Lord is always hidden. Now, the point here is very simple. Shukdev Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj in 10th Canto, chapter 9, which we've already been there. Nayam sukhapo bhagavan, dehinam gopika sutta, jnaninam chatma bhutana, yatha bhakti matamih. The persons who are jnanis even, what to speak of ordinary karmis, they're not going to, the people who think that they are the self, atma bhutas. The people who think that the self has been created, that means to say that we are this material body. They can't see. And even the jnanis cannot see also, but the devotees can see. This is the point. All right, now in this verse, text 47, there are some very, very pregnant words used. So we'll just give a little vocabulary here. Vikship, this is one of them. What is it? Karma vikshipta chetas. This is how we've been described. Vikship means to scatter, to play out, to distract, to frustrate, to distort, to spend yourself or your assets, or to be bewildered. It means all the above. And it brings to mind a very similar verse from 9th Canto, chapter 9, text 46. Ye vikship tendriya dhiyo devas te swahridi sthitam navindanti priyam shashwat atmanam kimutapare. You may have noticed, if you're listening closely, many of the same words that are used in today's verse, they're in this verse also. So what does it mean? Even though the demigods have the advantage of being situated in the higher planetary system, their minds, their senses, and their intelligence are all agitated by material conditions. Therefore, even such elevated persons fail to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is eternally situated in the core of the heart. What then is to be said of others, such as human beings, who have fewer advantages? Ye vikshiptendriya dhyaha. This is an adjective describing all of us. Persons whose minds and senses and intelligence are agitated by their material conditions. What are our material conditions? We have, of course, our karma to deal with. That involves, more often than not, threefold miseries, but also the temporary bewilderment of piety. That also goes on. These things distract us tremendously. And then you have different phases that we go through. You were born, you have to grow up. You remember what it was like to be a teenager? Oh my God. And then you're a young person completely absorbed in your pursuits. And then you get old and worry about your health. And then finally, when it's time to die, they're all trying to take your assets and you're getting kicked out. All the sarva kshetra vikaravit. Krishna tells the sons of Kuvera, he is the person who sees us in all these changes that we undergo. Sarva kshetra vikaravit. He knows everything where we've been. He knows what tests are coming 2 weeks down the road, unlike us. He knows everything. So we're bewildered by this karma. Karma vikshipta chetas. Nice word here. Or is or as it's in the 9th canto, I said, vikshiptendriyadhi. Our intelligence is bewildered by our senses, which are agitated also. Either way it works. Okay, so we have another word here. It's agrahya. The Lord is not to be grabbed. Grahya means to grab. Graha, grahana. That's why an eclipse is called Rahu Grahan. He grabs the moon or the sun. Hitopadesh tells us about that. Even if you're the sun traversing the sky and illuminating everything with your 1,000 hands. What are your 1,000 hands? Kiranas, the rays of the sun. Even if you're the moon, cooling all living beings and shining up the otherwise darkened night, still, you may have to be eaten by Rahu sometimes. This is the point. To likitam apilalate prochitam kah samartha. Who is it who's able to overcome the fate that's written on your forehead? Nobody. But you can overcome the bewilderment that normally ensues from that fate. And this is what we're talking about here. To be free from this. Karma vikshipta chetas. This is our present consciousness. It's not full of Krishna so much. Not Krishna consciousness. Karma vikshipta consciousness. Consciousness splayed, as we said. Perfect example. Bohu shaka hyanandascha. Same thing. It's splayed out. It's destroyed. It's all the things that we mentioned. Very rich verb here. Vikshipt. So that's one thing. Upeta gunatma. This is the alternative that he's mentioning here. Those who are favorably disposed to your qualities. Because if we appreciate the Lord's qualities, then we can surrender to him. We can serve him without hesitation. But we hesitate to do this. Why? Again, irshya, sirf irshya. Only envy. Just like if there's somebody in your social circle who shines more than you do, it kind of pinches the heart because we have some envy there, isn't it? And as long as that's there, you'll not be able to appreciate that person fully. That person's real qualities, you'll always be in denial. Just like Prabhupada gives this funny example. He's a high court judge, but they're not paying him. Right? We damn with faint praise. And people do this with God all the time. If they can even admit that there is a God, oh no, but he's impersonal, he can't see anything, I'm more confident than he is. This is the subtext. And this is envy. So, this is called apeta in the 11th canto. And here we have the word upeta. Upeta gunatma. Upeta means to approach the Lord's qualifications. Or to appreciate the Lord's qualifications. But ishad apetasya viparyayo smriti, persons who have turned away from the Lord in the ways that we've described, they're not going to see him. What do they see instead? Bhaya. Bhayam dutiyabhiniveshita syad ishad apetasya viparyayo smriti. They forget their relationship, they forget the Lord, they forget everything about their actual identity, and instead they have a constant companion in the form of fear, anxiety, insecurity, uncertainty. They're all the same thing. Bhaya. So upeta guna. Upa-i, this is the verb here. To approach, to come near for protection, to obtain, to strive for something. And in its past passive participle form, upeta It means to have arrived at something, to have reached or possess or have, to fall to the share of something or someone, to enter into a particular state or condition, to abide in, to betake oneself to come to, even to be initiated. All these things are implied by the word upeta, to approach the Lord submissively and to acknowledge his qualities, to always think of his qualities, to appreciate his qualities. This is what allows us to surrender to the Lord. Until that happens, most likely we will be distracted, vikshipta chetas. So the pivot here is the Lord's Shakti, that is to say Lakshmi, or ultimately Jayashri, Srimati Radharani. Out of envy, we seek to possess or deny her. If we can't enjoy her, then we deny her. Many of so-called transcendentalists, they don't admit the importance of the Lord's Shakti. That is the reason Jiva Goswami has compiled his Shatsandarbhas. If you read carefully, you'll see the whole thing is about the Lord's Shakti, and in particular his internal Shakti. Instead of submitting to her service, we try to deny her importance or try to ignore the fact that she outshines everyone. Or we try to exploit her. That's even worse. This is the material world, what we do. But only the Lord can really and truly enjoy those opulences which eternally belong to him. We are so proud of our so-called Atma Shaktis, and some of them have been mentioned here. You have a good birth, you have a good intelligence maybe, you have relative piety. All these things are okay. They're very favorable, or they can be, but they're not ours. They're just borrowed plumes for some short period of time. They're loaned to us in accordance with our karma, and that karma also is administered through the agency of Mahamaya. So we have the conception that we have our own separate Shaktis from those of Lord Krishna, but that's what Atma Shakti means. All the things that we think belong to us, and we foolishly try to employ these potencies, even in trying to manipulate those who have bestowed them upon us, the Lord and his devotees. This is the irony of our situation. But Krishna and his representatives never lose control of their Shaktis, and only we are blind to this fact. Only we are fooled by our lies, kaitava, dharma. So, therefore, we've been called here, karma vikshipta cheta, bewildered by our own karmic entanglement. This is a very unfortunate condition that we're in, but we can rectify all this simply by submitting earnestly to the service of the Lord, by becoming gunatma, those who appreciate the Lord's qualifications, gunatma. In other words, it means krishnasya gunagrahi, somebody who accepts that the Lord has wonderful infinite potencies far above anyone else's. So, somebody who acknowledges or appreciates the good qualities of the Lord and therefore submits to his servants. These pure devotees are always thinking of the Lord's qualities. Do we sing this every morning at Mangalarti? Are we thinking like this every morning at Mangalarti when we sing it? What is it? Which line is it? Yes. Gopangana gana chitta vinodana samasta guna gana dhama. The Gopanganas especially, they are the superlative gunatmas. They have totally embraced the Lord's wonderful qualities, which they're always thinking of. Their minds are delighted by the Lord's wonderful qualities. Chitta vinodana, samasta guna gana dhama. Now, one of those qualities we've already mentioned, mercy. So this is the one that we really have to bank on. We have to invest in the Lord's mercy, because it's really our only hope. We don't have such great qualifications. What is that? Ashabanta, Sanatana Goswami says, Na prema shravanadi bhaktir piva yogo thava vaishnavo jnanam va shubha karma va kiyataho sajjati rapyustiva. He was a Saraswat Brahmin, but he's saying, I don't even have a good birth. That's his humility. But that is our position, actually. Shirbi, Krishna says in the end of chapter 18, Sarva karmanyapi sada kurvano madhyapashriya madprasada vavapnoti shashvatam padam avyayam. If you give this life to Krishna sincerely, trying your level best to constantly hear and chant and glorify and discuss and worship the Lord, then he will take you to that eternal destination. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee under my protection reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. It's such an encouraging purport. I'm going to have to take a few minutes to just share with you. It's only one paragraph, but it's very, very deep. Please listen. Prabhupada writes, the word madhyapashriya means under the protection of the Supreme Lord. To be free from material contamination, a pure devotee acts under the direction of the Supreme Lord or his representative, the spiritual master. There is no time limitation for a pure devotee. He's always 24 hours a day, 100% engaged in activities under the direction of the Supreme Lord. To a devotee who is thus engaged in Krishna consciousness, the Lord is very, very kind. These are all things that we've been discussing this morning. In spite of all difficulties, he is eventually placed in the transcendental abode or Krishna Loka, and he's guaranteed entrance there. There is no doubt about it. These are Prabhupada's words. You could bank on this. Have faith. In that supreme abode, there is no change. Everything is eternal, imperishable, and full of knowledge. Or as Narad Muni promises elsewhere, Yapardhen nityamevedam kavacham prayato naraha tasyashu vibado devi nashyanti rupasanghata ante gopala charanam prapnoti parameshwari. You're chanting every day like this. Gradually at the end of your life, you will go to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we should have no doubts about any of this. And we should carefully note the wonderful character of Shrutadev, and now he's concluding his prayers, and we should try to emulate that kind of character. He's really Gunatma, devotee, and we should also become likewise. Now it's going to be very interesting. I don't want to spoil the plot, but how Krishna responds to his prayers it takes us to a new level altogether, but that's for the coming speakers. I'm going to stop here. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Any questions or any comments, please? Yes.
Janma karma chame divyam, just trying to understand Krishna and his potencies and opulences and having a tiny brain in Kali Yuga. Can we just chant Hare Krishna and all these realizations will still come, or we have to study them and try to understand them in an intellectual, philosophical way?
Really, there's nothing but the holy name. Hare Nama Aiva Kevalam. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that's our only concern in Kali Yuga. The problem is, as we said in the beginning, we're not really chanting the way that Shrutadev says we should be chanting. How does he say we should be chanting? Satatam kirtayanto mam. Krishna says the same thing. That's the problem. That's why we do everything we do. We should not lose sight of the goal. That it's really only to bring us to the simple process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Fear be, Jor say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. But we need all these things to deity worship, and we need to hear so that we can understand where are my offenses. Otherwise, how are we going to see anything unless the intelligence is purified? So everything is there. 64 angas of bhakti that Rupa Goswami outlines in the complete science of bhakti, which is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But yes, we should understand. Really, all we need is the holy name. And the sooner we can tighten up our practice of sadhana bhakti, vaidhi bhakti, then that much sooner we can just dive into the nectarian ocean of the holy name. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Just like he does every day. 20
Always in Maya.
man. Anything else? No other questions or comments? We'll stop here. Thank you. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Mukunda Datta Prabhu ki.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,